Hello again everybody, I'm the Dude5 back with another video. Today we'll be continuing our walkthrough series of Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, Game of the Year Edition, with Part 7. We are finally in the second area of Mordor in the game, the Sea of Nirnen. It's the only other area of the game you're allowed access to in the main storyline. Once you defeat the Hammer, which is the first Black Captain, you will be taken to a new area. Starting this mission will take you to a new area. You can return to Udun at any time from the map and selecting the gate icon. Each area has its own army. Without further ado, let's start the mission, The Messenger.
The smell of fresh meat always attracts the scavengers.
And they tend to travel in packs. We should leave now.
Queen will be pleased to see you. We are here.
If it weren't for all these orc shanty towns, this area would be a lot more beautiful. It's kind of bizarre to see a place like Mordor actually be lush and kind of teeming with life, even if it's like wicked and twisted and nasty life. It's sometimes.
Lady Marwen, Queen of the Shore.
The fallen ranger from the Black Gate. Come closer.
Your daughter claims you have something for me.
Not for you, Talion. The hour grows late. Very soon, the Dark Lord and his army will march all over Mordor, but a great power can be awakened to prevent it.
Is that why I'm here?
Breach into Morgoth's scar. Take the elven craftwork from the ghouls and find the dwarf.
Stay strong, Mother. Come.
What is your mother's affliction?
No one knows. She worsened after her travels.
Is there not medicine?
There was, but our camp was overrun.
Alrighty guys, so we're about halfway through the game after this mission. However, there are some parts to the final 3 missions that can get kind of lengthy. For example, when we end up having to brand
Find the way to Morgoth's scar.
all 5 war chiefs,
Pick up the ghouls' trail at that ransacked caravan we passed earlier.
and that'll come after these next few missions here. And that is a part of the main story that we will have to accomplish in order to progress to the final mission of the game.
How does the Queen know of your past?
Ancient knowledge lays unseen by all but spirits. She can see into both worlds.
Then perhaps she will lead us to what we seek.
Plus, these Queen Marwen missions
So
will
many dead Uruks.
allow us
I must slay the
to
ghouls before I
see
slaughter
some of the
Ghouls
last
are scavengers.
memories of Celebrimbor and offer us a little bit more insight into his past. And since this is a new area of Mordor that we haven't visited yet, we have yet to unlock all the Forge Towers, which I'll unlock a
I must
couple
locate the ghouls'
on
tracks.
screen here, and then I'll do the rest off screen just because it's kind of time consuming.
There's our
It's not too
trail.
time consuming, but it does consume a little bit of time, maybe like 10 minutes at the most. And that's 10 minutes of, you know, other things I could be doing to progress the storyline and all that. So
You hear that?
these Uruks are annoying me. I'm just gonna light them up. Kaboom! For a second, when this Karagor saw me, I was afraid it was going to end up chasing me, but I don't think it did.
Thank you, Ranger.
There is an ability you can purchase when you're able to, that decreases the charge time for charge shots, and it actually helps things go a lot quicker. I have already recorded and played a bit of Shadow of War, and in Shadow of War, the time it takes to charge an arrow shot is kind of automatically greatly decreased. And the animations and everything for it are a bit different
This must be
than Shadow of Mordor. I can't wait to start showing you guys what this game is like. So far it's really fun. I've recorded an episode of it. There's some side stuff I'm probably going to do in the game off recording. But I am already recording a few episodes to kind of prepare to be able to edit and upload quicker once we get into that series after Shadow of Mordor here. This is part 7 in my series, and there's going to be a total of 11 parts. I did try to make the videos a little bit shorter whilst still including like 2 or 3 missions, 2 or 3 final missions in each one. But like I said, the most time-consuming part of the second half of this game was branding the war chiefs, and you can really go about that any way you really want, and we'll get to that, I think, in like part 9. You have to be very careful in this ghoul cave, not to be noticed. One false move and you could probably end up screwing yourself over pretty hard. Because if one ghoul notices you and you don't get to it in time, sayonara. And there are some moments you're afraid the ghouls might notice you, but just kind of keep following the trail, keep progressing forward as stealthily as you can. Wait for some of the ghouls to move out of the way at certain points, so that way they don't notice you fully. Luckily in this episode there were no audio or video glitches. For some reason in the last episode, I think there was just an error with the recording. There was some kind of glitch or something, bug with the previous recording.
Your heirloom must be here.
Because that really almost never happens to me when editing a video. There's usually no video or audio issues. So it must have been with that specific recording for part 6 that I was having issues with. Ooh.
Made by the Dark Lord himself. And still covered in my family's blood.
That is the mithril hammer itself. Finally, we're able to gain access to this heirloom. I've already uploaded my unboxing video of my mithril edition of Shadow of War and all my goodies, and one of the pre-order bonuses I got was a mithril hammer bottle opener. It's really cool.
We are betrayed. Its power blazes like a beacon, and will bring ruin to all Middle-earth.
So, apparently, because we figured out that Celebrimbor has forged all of the rings of power, essentially. However, in Sauron's quest for domination over Middle-earth, in using Celebrimbor for his talents and in teaching him certain things, I think he had Celebrimbor try to, in a sense, put some finishing touches on the One Ring. Because you can kind of see Celebrimbor working on the One Ring of Power there a little bit. I don't know if it was to try to... Because initially, Sauron himself forged the One Ring, but in order to kind of give it a will of its own, in order to fine-tune it, and I don't know exactly what kind of effect the One Ring, effects the One Ring had after Celebrimbor fine-tuned the forging of it a little bit, but Sauron probably tricked him into adding some certain properties, some certain magical properties, because Celebrimbor himself kind of has the will to dominate certain forms of life, and I think that's what Sauron was trying to have him do. I think he manipulated Celebrimbor into adding some certain characteristic and magical properties to the One Ring to kind of give it that give it that will to dominate and corrupt.
Pity to end your military career inside the belly of a ghoul, eh? I'm Torvin, the Beast Hunter. And I bet 10 pints you just nabbed the treasure I was after.
Now, I am grateful for the assistance, but it does not grant you proprietary rights.
Keep it! I just found something a lot more valuable.
And what would that be?
My new hunting partner!
What you hunt does not interest me, Master Dwarf.
Even if it leads you to the chisel that belongs with that hammer. Every creature's got its lure. Yours just happens to be very old. Well, if the thrill of the hunt takes your fancy, my camp's not far.
Find the dwarf.
That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is one of my favorite characters in the entire game, Torvin the Dwarf. He's really funny.
Water, air, and
But as I was saying, initially, and I don't know if this is just the makers of the game playing with the lore at all, but according to the game now, have it being a part of the story of all this, and taking this into account, it was originally thought by by many, by most, that when Sauron created the One Ring, every single aspect of it, like its enhancement of power, its will to dominate and corrupt any and all who come in contact with it besides the Dark Lord himself, the fact that it kind of has a will of its own, and all that other stuff, and the ability to make people go invisible and enter the Wraith world, whomever should put it on. Originally, it was thought that all of those aspects of the One Ring, Sauron himself forged into it. But now, playing through this game, some of the aspects of the One Ring kind of start to make a little bit more sense, in the fact that Sauron himself has necromantic capabilities. He's able to reawaken the dead. And so it would make sense that he himself would be able to see into the Wraith world. So that is an ability that he himself probably forged into the One Ring when he made it. But initially he poured all of his power, cruelty, and malice into the One Ring, making him infinitely stronger and ultimately immortal. Or not immortal, but maybe invincible in a way. But when he had Celebrimbor, you know, kind of add something to the ring, his like a will to dominate and corrupt any who come in contact with it, and the fact that Celebrimbor himself, you know, died and became a wraith. The ability of the One Ring to make people vanish before, you know, vanish into thin air and enter the Wraith world, or at least see into the Wraith world, kind of makes more sense with the whole, you know, story of Celebrimbor tied into it. And so, and in the next memory, in this next Queen Marwyn mission, we'll also see, I think, a little bit more. Well, no, we won't. No, yeah, we will. For a second, it almost looked like the mission's name was Queen of the Snore.
Thank you.
I found the mithril hammer. Can your flames show me why my soul was denied death?
Her eyes turned black. She's possessed by a demon.
You are the victim of a blood sacrifice.
Can the curse be broken?
Destroy the Black Hand and his followers, and claim Mordor.
No man of Gondor will come to my aid.
You don't need them. Your power begets followers, willing or otherwise.
An orc army.
How do I do this?
Your answers are in the fortress nearby, but what you seek may not be there for much longer.
Marwyn's decree was speed. The future must be met.
So it's just kind of interesting to see more backstory and lore added to the shaping of Middle-earth initially with all the rings of power, especially the One Ring itself. Because there are aspects of the One Ring that, you know, it kind of was assumed that that the Dark Lord Sauron was able to forge into it himself, but playing through this game and getting the more backstory on the One Ring and the relationship between Celebrimbor and Sauron, it makes more sense that some aspects of the One Ring were not initially forged into it by Sauron, that they were forged into it by somebody else. And that there are others powerful enough to kind of, however temporarily, lay claim to the One Ring and use its power
What they carry.
other than Sauron.
We'll save them nonetheless.
Don't be blinded by your emotions.
But in the end, the One Ring really truly only answers to Sauron alone and only grants its full potential
If we brand
to
those archers, we
Sauron.
can build our army and save these men at the same time.
So you unlock the brand ability. When you drain enemies, you will apply your own brand, causing them to become your followers. Hold circle to brand. You can stealth brand by holding R2 and walking up to them and tapping circle. And combat brand. However, you do have to purchase the combat brand / drain and the stealth drain abilities separately. You do unlock the brand ability automatically through the story here, but there are two draining / brand abilities that you do have to purchase separately. They're not unlocked automatically when you play this mission. Just letting you guys know that. And you will need the stealth drain ability for the second to last mission, which is also the second to last boss fight. When you're fighting the tower, which is the second to last Black Captain, you will need the stealth drain ability in order to take him on. So make sure you have that ability purchased before the end of the game.
Gaze into the light of my eye. See.
Here we get but a taste of our powers that we obtain in Shadow of War. It's almost kind of interesting because I bet people playing this game initially, when they gained the ability to brand and command followers, they thought, oh, that's really cool. I can turn Sauron's army against him initially then. And it is a really cool aspect of the game. But then once Shadow of War was announced, and it was announced that like the main concept of the game was going to be like to dominate Uruks, make followers, and take over areas of Mordor. Once that was announced and once that kind of became a thing, I bet people replaying through this game and reaching the part of it where they start branding Uruks and making them their followers started to make a lot more sense. The fact that now this part of the game is tied into, you know, the future of the franchise. It's just a really cool aspect of it, you know. And we're doing this without the new Ring of Power that he forged, so I'm wondering, like, what this new Ring of Power that Celebrimbor and Talion forged, I'm wondering what it adds to your abilities in terms of domination and all that stuff, because we're able to brand Uruks and make them our followers without the new Ring of Power. And so I guess I'll have to just play through more of Shadow of War to kind of figure that out, but I don't want to spoil anything about it. I want to be able to, you know, upload it and go through the story as, you know, and progress through it. I will not give anything away. I will not give spoilers.
The Lady of the Shore send you to our aid. The Queen warned us to wait until the end of the battle.
Then you all spotted
I
us.
told you, the visions always come to pass.
Yes, but I told you not to.
Do you have something for me?
Queen Marwen sent us to find this.
So here we see Sauron leading a raid on Celebrimbor's home. And, you know, Celebrimbor being a spoopy elf lord knows how to cut through any opponent. I love the way elves fight. It's so OP, but so graceful and amazing looking.
Take him to Mordor.
So initially, Sauron didn't kill Celebrimbor and his family. He took them captive to Mordor to try to hold them hostage and bend them to his will, because that's what Sauron does. If he sees something that could be used to his gain, he's going to do everything in his power to manipulate and corrupt, I don't know, whatever that person or thing may be in order to, you know, serve him. So you do kind of have to be careful in this part of the fight, not to get beaten around. Basically, just make sure that you don't get swarmed by enemies and counter in time. Also, it helps to have access to the Storm of Urfile perk early because of a special rune that is available with the Game of the Year edition. I bought it digitally on PSN. So, you know, if you guys are looking to replay through the game, I highly recommend getting the Game of the Year edition digitally, because it'll come with automatic epic runes, one of them being a rune that grants you access to the Storm of Urfile perk early, and not have to purchase it through the ability tree like you would traditionally have had to do. There is a line of dialogue in here after one of the missions saying that once he kind of discovered what Sauron was doing, he forged the 3 elven rings in secret. The 3 elven elemental rings, the earth, wind, and fire, are you know, actually, sorry, I that's a mistake. That's an error in lore and knowledge. There are 3 elemental rings that exist in Middle-earth, but they're very seldom talked about. Like, the most talked about rings of power were the 3 forged for the elves, but they were not elemental, I don't believe. There were 7 for the dwarf lords and 9 gifted to the race of men, and Celebrimbor forged all of these rings, but he did forge 3 elemental rings in secret for earth, fire, and air. And the wielder of one of those rings is Gandalf, ends up being Gandalf the Grey later on in the story of Middle-earth after the events of the Silmarillion. Gandalf is the servant of the secret fire, wielder of the Flame of Arnor. Flame of Arnor, and I think what he means by that is it's a ring of power that he holds. And I don't know what happened to the other 2 elemental rings of power, but I know Gandalf wields one of them. And so, but I think those elemental rings of power were forged in secret, and if they play a bigger part in the story of Middle-earth, then they're definitely not mentioned in The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings at all. But Celebrimbor did still forge those rings as well, but in secret. It's kind of an interesting concept, the fact that beings of great enough power can forge, you know, can forge physical objects using great skill and magical abilities in order to enhance or gain new powers that could give them, you know, an edge in battle, that can make them wiser. You know, it's just an interesting concept. That really is unseen in any other place but, you know, Tolkien lore. I've never seen any other original storyline, original stories where, you know, pieces of jewelry or other, you know, objects could grant people immense power. You know, that started with Tolkien, and I think it ended with him too, if I'm not mistaken.
Shouldn't hear me. It's a clean kill. And none of it is going to go to waste. What's your name, Ranger?
Italian.
What were you? A lieutenant?
No, actually, I was a captain.
Oh, my mistake. We have a captain in our midst. Well, better look sharp, eh? Captain's coming. Better sharpen the swords, eh? And make sure our boots are nice and shiny. Oh, so tell me, Captain, have you ever hunted a Graug?
That Graug has what you promised me.
Aye. Not just any Graug. The largest one I ever came across. We must prepare.
I should do just fine. I've been trained very well.
My dog, Silver, was trained very well. That was before she got eaten by a warg. The hunt is not about rules, my captain. We're not going to line up and have someone play with our lives. It's about instinct, and it's about guts. Which, as you can see, I know a thing or two about. You want basics on the hunt? Follow me. The hunt is its own beast, one you must learn to tame. First lesson of Caragor hunting: do not die.
What do we need them for?
We ride them. A worthy mount for a dangerous hunt. Now, these beasts will not be impressed by your rank. All flesh tastes the same to them. Once you go on the hunt, Captain, you'll come out a changed man. Hopefully for the better, but you never know. When I was hunting wargs, I picked up their ways quickly. But Caragors, well, those bastards are a tougher breed. Took me nearly a year to figure them out. Caragors. Buggers hate water. I once tried to ride one through a river, and she hightailed it up a cliffside with me on its back. Amazing what they'll do to avoid a good cleaning, eh? The hunt is my mistress. Beautiful, thrilling, infectious. And she doesn't nag, like my wife. Oh, you haven't lived until you've been on the hunt, Captain. The very air smells different. Like triumph. Ranger, over here!
That one over there looks quite aggressive.
Don't even try creeping up on the Caragor. It'll catch your scent a mile away.
What do you propose, then?
Wouldn't you hop in and introduce yourself? Ask it for a ride.
You gain the ability to counter Caragor's leap attack, which will stun the beast, and that way you don't have to worry about trying to leap on it from above in order to dominate it and ride it.
What now? Climb on its back.
That was a pretty funny joke.
Hold tight. Become one with the
The hunt is thrilling, infectious, and it doesn't nag like my wife. It's kind of like one of those jokes, like a man needs a hobby that doesn't, you know, to get away from the missus, you know, like golf sort of thing. I think that was funny.
That's about the same time it took me to tame one. You might be a natural, Captain. You didn't fare too bad back there. Where'd you get your training, Captain?
I hail from the Black Gate.
The Black Gate. Nice place. Sounds depressing.
Torvin likes to talk a lot, doesn't he?
Let's find some Uruks. Now that you tame the beast, let's see if it'll fight for you.
I love the way he mimics, he makes fun of, Talion for being a captain of Gondor. He's like, yeah, you know, just because you were a nice, you know, well-to-do, spiffy captain of Gondor doesn't mean you couldn't still get, you know, your head sliced off and shoved up your ass by one of these things, you know? Because Uruk's really against any and all opponents. Things like Uruks and Caragors and Graugs and any sort of evil, fell thing really doesn't care about rank too much when it comes to facing off against an opponent. All they care about is killing you.
Land used to be more lush. Now a doom slowly sweeps over it.
Like much of Mordor.
Yes. Though the doom does add a spice to the hunt. Sure he can from what? You take him up high. Leave the ground dogs to me. It'll crush the dwarf. Oh, that was gruesome. Double points.
It is fairly easy to try to kill more Uruks than Torvin in this mission. And that is the bonus objective, to try to kill more Uruks than Torvin. So long as you consistently move faster than him, and you will be able to, you really won't have too hard a time killing more Uruks than him. Unfortunately, that was a worm I could have gained intel from, but in the middle of this mission, it's really not possible to do any sort of side stuff.
Put you to a final test. Fight him however you like.
Oh, running short on lessons?
Running long on lip. You'll need to think on your feet. When we face the Graug, can't always look to me for help. The hunt is about discipline, training yourself to see the perfect moment, rather than being told it. I once tracked a grey eagle back to her nest. I decided to let them be, even before they tossed me to the rocks below. Somebody bloody pasted, sing it up, or content party.
Try to be as careful as possible not to get surrounded by enemies in this part, because it is a larger number of enemies. Some of them have shields and they're harder to knock down. And if you're not careful, you will get your Caragor killed and probably most likely have to start the mission over again, or start this part of the mission over again at least. So my Caragor was getting pretty low on health, but I still managed to succeed. Just gotta stay mobile. And eating downed enemies does restore a little bit of your Caragor's health, but not enough if you're consistently getting like hack and slashed by enemies.
Wish I'd been there to see the look on those rangers' faces.
Torvin is too quiet. Something must be wrong.
Go to him, Talion. Perhaps we should track the hunter.
You'll make a nice meal, dwarf.
Torvin needs help.
That's my 27 to your 13, Torvin.
What does riding Caragors have to do with killing Graugs?
All these questions, Captain. Not you were supposed to follow orders.
You are testing my patience, Torvin.
Pay attention. Learn to respect the beast. You're gonna need size and strength to fight the mighty Graug. Remember, on the hunt, respect is earned. And who knows? It'll even call you sir, eh?
This dwarf is far from home.
Not all those who wander are lost.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the first Torvin mission. I'm sure you guys can see why he's probably my favorite character in the entire game. So, I was trying to go toward like a Mirian artifact or like a forge tower to unlock it, and I accidentally ended up happening across this Uruk captain here, and ended up killing him really quick just because I felt like it. His helmet looks pretty cool. I think he's probably one of the cooler looking Uruk captains.
Let me have a piece of it.
Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I want to thank everyone so much for watching. My name has been I'm the Dude 5. Please subscribe to my channel, turn on the bell icon for notifications of new content. Also check out my friend Night the Wolf on YouTube. I'll provide a link on screen to his channel. Be sure to like and subscribe and turn on the bell icon for notifications. Also guys, anybody looking for a new Destiny clan for Destiny 2, check out Body No Pants Party. I'll provide a link in the description for Bungie.net, so you can go ahead and search up Body No Pants Party. And those of you with smartphones and tablets, download an app called Discord from your local app store, and search for Body No Pants Party. You'll be able to talk to some of the admins, follow instructions for being inducted into the clan. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay classy. I will see you all out there in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie.
Who said